Hey, so this is our last video of the series because I don't think there's too much in it. Like I said, it really boils down to doing your synthetic division and understanding this general equation of the graph. So the synthetic division up here, I've said that it can be asked a few different ways, and we've gone through that about further factorizing. So you might need to do your synthetic division again if you've got a this was a power of 4 question. So once we got our equation, just a minute on that. We still had a cubic, so to factorize a cubic, we had to do more synthetic division by just guessing a factor. If it was a cubic that we were starting off with, you would then have to do your trinomial factorizing. And if asked to solve, take it from the factorized term all the way through to the actual solution. So yeah, really is just synthetic division and a little bit of factorizing. The graphs, we discussed the general term of the graphs. So wherever you cut the axis, that's a solution. So when we write it in the general form, we change the sign. So if you look at that, if that's your solutions there for this one here, that's where this cubic cuts the x-axis. So if we want to write in the general form, you see why we change the sign when we're going back the way. So we're changing the sign, and to find k, we substitute a point in. So that's kind of the two big skills. The only thing they can do is make life a little bit trickier. I'm sorry, it's a wee bit fuzzy. Is to ask you to throw some unknowns and ask you to kind of follow that through. So I'm just going to set my synthetic division up. I'll let you have a read at that. Okay, as if by magic they appear. So I'm just going to set my synthetic division up. So I've got an x cubed, I've got negative 4x squared, and then I've got an a, then I've got a b. It'll be the same for this one as well. I've got a 1, negative 4, a and b. And the reason I'm doing it twice is because I've been given two sets of information. I've been asked to find the values of a and b, and I've got these two sets of information. So I know that x take away 1 is a factor. Okay, so if I put in plus 1, I should find that this last term equals 0, if that's a factor. I also know when I divide it by negative 2, so I put a 2 in. The remainder is negative 12, so this bit at the end should be equal to negative 12. So that's what we have to do first. So let's follow this through then. Let's say I've got, so pull the 1 down, start off with the 1. We multiply across, so 1 times 1 is 1. Add them, negative 3. Multiply, negative 3. And now we add. So I've now got a take away 3. And then multiply again. So I've got a take away 3. And we add. So I've got a plus b take away 3 is 0. That was quite easy because the 1 was here. So let's try this one a bit trickier now. So pull the 1 down and then multiply and add. Multiply and add. So I've got a take away 4. And this is what people make a mistake with. I'm timesing this whole thing by 2. So I'm going to end up with 2a take away 8. It's the whole thing. And then I'll add. So 2a plus b take away 8 is equal to negative 12. And it's back to our old friend, simultaneous equations. I've got two unknowns, so I need two equations. So I'm just going to write that in the form a plus b equals 3. All I've done here is move my 3 over. That's that equation. And over here, I'll do the same. Call that 2a plus b. And I'll move the 8 over, so I'll add 8 to both sides. That'll become negative 4. Now this is good to go because the coefficients in front of the b are the same. So I can just take away one equation from the other. So I'll call that equation a, call that equation b. Let's do b take away a. B take away, do either one you want, doesn't really matter. So that's going to give me a plus 0, so the b's disappear, and negative 4 take away 3, negative 7. So a would be equal to negative 7. I've made a mistake somewhere. No, I've done it fine. I just had a little look at the answer there and I thought, oh, that doesn't seem right. All I did was I then thought, okay, well, if A is negative 7, I'll solve for B. So put this in up here, we'll say that negative 7 plus what is 3? So B is going to be equal to 10. Now, just as a little check at this point, and this is what I was doing just to check I got the right answer, despite the answer saying something different. Just put this back into one of your original equations. Okay, so up here, put in 1, -4, and then put in a as -7, put in b as 10, and try it again. So 1, pull the 1 down, 1 times 1 is 1, take away 4 is -3, multiply them for -3, -10, -10, 0. So that does work. So you can always check you've done this right. So no, the answer there actually would be wrong. A and B would be -7 and 10. So as we found A and B. Now it says to solve. Oh, there we go. Actually, what's the original? Solving this all the way through. So you would do what I just done here. So we know that x take away 1 is a factor, as I've just put that in. And this comes out as x squared take away 3x take away 10. If I need to solve that, I need to solve this trinomial. So I'm looking for numbers that adds to -3 and multiply to give me -10. So x take away 1. And this is looking like it's going to be 5 and 2. And it'll be -5 plus 2. Because I'm looking for adds to -3. Multiply to that. Fantastic. And the question did not say factorize. The question said solve. So to solve it, I then need to go the extra step. Fantastic. Okay. -1, 2, 5. And again, that answer seems a little bit spurious because you would be changing the sign. I don't know how -1 could be an answer if your factor is x take away 1. Okay, so yeah, the answers aren't always going to be right. Um, but you can double check you've done these things correctly, like I did before. So that does make sense. So yeah, simultaneous equations. You're doing it twice. The big mistake I think people make is not to multiply this term by both these terms. Okay, so people would put 2a take away 4, and just making sure you set up both your equations. And you've got a mark for this, a mark for your simultaneous, and then finish your factorizing and solving. And you still need to remember about your trinomials from last year. Okay, and that is the end of polynomials. So I hope you enjoyed that. Synthetic division, your equation of your generic equation of the graph, and making it easier synthetic division. Just don't forget you might have to do a bit of factorizing and solving at the end. Do what it says. If it says solve, you go right to the end. If it says factorize, you can stop here. Don't forget your statement. Remainder is 0, therefore this is a factor. You're changing your sign when you put your bracket into here, and the powers all go down. If your question doesn't have sequential terms, so if this is cubic and then onto an x, so if we're missing out this square term, to say that wasn't there, it was just this, this, and this, you would have to put a 0 in here. Get that as well. And that's about everything. Quite a nice topic to come up. Will come up. Just depends how hard they want to make it. But if you can do all this, that's okay. And just take your time with this. I've read that a few times just to make sure you can see even the answer. Made a silly mistake, so watch out for your negatives and positives. And if you lay it out nice and neat, it should be quite easy to make a mistake. If I made a mistake, I'm sure you can spot it because that's quite nice and laid out. Okay, so hope that was helpful. Best of luck.